Hi everyone, my name is Brooke DeVore. I'm going to be making Nutter Butter Cookie Balls using Philadelphia cream cheese. This recipe is very simple. It's an excellent dessert. There's no baking involved, so people who have any apprehensions about baking, this is definitely your recipe. So what I have in front of me, I have my Nutter Butter cookies, I have melting chocolate, and I also have peanut butter chips that can be melted down. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blend my Nutter Butter cookies with my Philadelphia cream cheese in the food processor. Once that's completed, I'm going to roll pieces, small pieces about 1 inch in size, into small balls and stick them onto my cookie sheet that has parchment paper. This should make about 30 cookie balls. And if you have a little bit more or you have a little bit less, they're all good. So let's go ahead and start. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to make sure that my cream cheese is open, and I'm going to take out all of my cookies. And then you just basically want to throw them in here. Since it is a food processor, you don't really have to break them down too much. And you want to make sure that you use the entire package of the cookies, just so that you can make sure that you make enough cookie balls. Okay. Alright. Okay, so I've used the entire contents of the Nutter Butter cookies. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to first make sure that my cookies are nice and ground up, because once they're ground up, when you incorporate the cream cheese into it, it makes it a lot easier to roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pulse this, because you want to keep an eye on it. You don't want it to get too fine. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, so that was about, 4 or 5 seconds. I see a couple more pieces that probably need to be ground up a little bit better. Okay, this looks excellent. You want to make sure that it's nice and crummy. Again, you don't want it to look like a powder. Now, I'm going to add my Philadelphia cream cheese. And you only want to use about 8 ounces. This is really all you need. Gives it a nice flavor complex, and it's great. It's a great adhesive for holding these little cookie balls together as well. Okay, so let's get that in there. Excellent. Okay, just gonna set that there. And all right, our food processor is locked and ready to go. And now, when we're pulsing this together, the mixture is going to look a lot like cookie dough. That's when you know that it's done. Starting to wind up a little bit. It took a little while for it to mix, but as you can see, it's kind of rolling into a dough-like mixture. Okay, that looks excellent. They're going to look a lot like the filling of a Reese's peanut butter cookie. And you know what that looks like. Delicious. So, let's go ahead and take a little piece. This is probably a little bit bigger than 1 inch. But you want to take a little piece like this, just pinch it off, roll it between your clean hands, kind of like that, and there you go. You make a nice little Nutter Butter cookie ball. So let's go ahead and stick this on the parchment paper. I'm going to go ahead and make about probably 28, 30 more. And once I've completed that, once I have all of them on my parchment paper, I'm going to stick them in the refrigerator for exactly 30 minutes. That way way they can harden up, because once they come out and they're cold, I'm going to dip them into hot chocolate, hot melting chocolate, the melting chocolate that you can get in your baking aisle. It's going to be delicious. Then, once those cool, I'm going to drizzle them with my peanut butter chips. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on these real quick. Okay, so I've just taken out my Nutter Butter balls from the fridge. They've been in there for exactly 30 minutes, and the point of that process was to make sure that they harden a little bit, because I'm about to dip all of these into chocolate, into my melting chocolate, and then I'm going to set them right back onto the parchment paper and then pop them right back into the fridge for about 10 minutes. At that point, I'm going to melt my Reese's peanut butter cup chips, and then we're going to drizzle that on top, and that'll be the final process of this dessert. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and just do a couple for you. You take the ball and you place it right here in the chocolate, and make sure that you drench each one of these in chocolate. Now this can be a slightly tricky process. It's a little messy, but it's delicious. It's definitely worth the work. Okay, and then we just set it right back onto the parchment paper, moving on to the next one. And I came out making about 35 Nutter Butter balls, which is, you know, a bonus. Sometimes you'll get 30, sometimes you get a little bit less. Okay, that's my second one. Do one more, and then we're going to take a little break. I'm just going to go ahead and finish up the rest, and then we'll move on to the final process. Okay, so I've taken out my Nutter Butter cookie balls from the fridge. I've dipped all 35 of them in chocolate. What I'm doing right now is I'm stirring the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup chips. I've added some half and half to it to make it more of a smoother consistency so that I can drizzle it over these Nutter Butter cookie balls. Okay, so here I go. I'm just going to drip them over in a zigzag formation, and then I'm going to stick them back in the fridge, and then they'll be ready to serve. Just kind of drizzle it as best as you can. The peanut butter consistency is a little thick, but you know, when you drizzle it over, it doesn't necessarily have to go in a zigzag formation. Just kind of pop it up on the top as decoration. Just like that. These are really good to serve at parties, around the holidays, any time of year really. These are just delicious. Okay. Here we go. And you want to do it kind of quickly, because the peanut butter consistency is actually sort of hard to work with. But once you've got it going, and you just top each one, it'll be such a delicious treat. Okay. Remember, we're going to stick these back in the fridge, and then they're ready to serve. But right now you can kind of get an idea of the final product. Just kind of go over some of the ones I might have missed a little bit. And they look a lot like little chocolate truffles. But if anybody didn't know any better, when they bite in, they'll find that it's Nutter Butter cookie mixed with cream cheese. And there we go.